Hey everybody, and welcome to a Tatter-a-fact here at the Girlz Ink studio in Las Vegas. And today I got a local guest. And look, if you guys are conference goers, you may know her. Her name is Melissa Palacios. So hey, Melissa.
Hi.
Hey, thanks for coming down here.
Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, I'm so excited. I have not had a conference owner on the show yet.
Oh, super.
Yeah, you're my
super
first
excited.
one. Yeah. So I thought it would be really, really interesting to talk about a lot of the things that people are interested in what like makes a great conference. First, let's give the dates of your
Okay.
conference. So the let me do a little bio, and then we'll do you a little bio. So
Okay.
the PMU, the Vegas PMU Conference, it's at the Cosmopolitan this year, 2023, October 15th through the 19th.
Correct.
You've got 7 conferences under your belt, done and over with,
Yeah.
and this is going to be your 8th one.
Yes.
So in my opinion, that makes you a conference specialist, a conference master, if you will, right? I mean, 7. A lot of
Yeah.
people that get into conferences, myself included, I did 3 with America the Beautiful. And I think a lot of people that get into conferences, they'll do a few or a couple, and then they dip out and they don't do them anymore because of
Yeah.
all the hard work, the stress, the anxiety, the sleepless nights, all that stuff that goes into a conference. But I would love for you just to give a little backstory on how and why you got into PMU conferences.
Sure. Definitely was something that we kind of fell into, literally. Our oldest daughter decided to get into the PMU industry. She was always obsessed with eyebrows, so she got into microblading. And her first year in, she was invited to attend a conference by her mentor. I believe it was in Japan. And we thought, well, that would be really cool. That seems like a really neat experience. But it was really far. She was young. And so, we kind of thought, nah, not this time, maybe next time. So because she was in PMU, we started talking. And us being in Vegas, my husband says, well, we should do a conference in Vegas. It's like the fun capital of the world. There's lots of venues, lots of conferences, shows here. We should do it in Vegas. My first thought was like, what? Like, what do you mean we should do a conference here? He's like, yeah. He goes, we can invite artists like they did from around the world, all different countries. And that way, girls who live in the U.S. could go, like our daughter, and it wouldn't be so far for them. It would be in the U.S. And at that time, we hadn't done a lot of research, so we didn't know if anyone else was doing conferences. But we knew that Vegas would be a very, very exciting place for people to come from around the world. And then my husband had a history of working as a banquet waiter. So he was very familiar with hosting events and weddings and parties and kind of knew that whole side of the industry, which I didn't know. My daughter was in the PMU industry, so she had a lot of artists that she was already following and watching that she loved. And then my role at that time was kind of more and more the organizer. I'm more of like a planner. So immediately my mind's racing, like, how do we plan this? How do we start this? Like, how do we do it? So that's kind of how it started. It was kind of just something to do for fun that we thought, well, it'd be a great experience to do it here.
Yeah, and here you are. You started in 2017.
Yeah.
And so obviously you enjoy doing it.
Right. We do.
Right?
And yes.
So I came to your conference last year. That was my first time at your conference, and it was like a last minute thing. We were supposed to be in Florida at another conference, and I think it was the hurricane.
Yeah.
And it got canceled.
Oh, yeah.
So last minute, like Kat emailed you guys and like, hey,
Yeah.
can we like join you? And you created a little spot for us. You welcomed us. We didn't even have our banners. We weren't even like professional. I think we were even a little self-conscious. Yeah, Kat? Kat's here with us, and a little self-conscious about the way we were kind of presenting ourselves because we're used to having our big banners and being prepared. But it's like all that anxiety I had about not looking professional, not having my banners. it was within, just a couple of hours of being there first day, that just all kind of melted away for me and my whole team. We got to meet your husband. He was super warm.
Yeah.
The energy of the conference was super positive, which is something I look for when I go to conference. It's not always that way. Sometimes the energy is not positive. Sometimes it can be cliquey.
Yeah.
And things like that. And we loved it. Me, my wife, my whole team. We had an absolute blast.
I'm so glad.
Honest to goodness, I thought it was really super well run. The energy was great. The venue was beautiful. It had a great flow. The timing was great. It stayed on time. And I loved that it was here in Vegas. And what I love, Melissa, is you're Vegas. You and your husband, you are Vegas. We weren't born here, but we both have been Vegas since back in the day. You've been here 30 years or so, myself included.
And my husband too.
Yeah. And so I remember Kat and I standing there feeling so proud.
Oh, I'm so glad.
And it's not even my conference. And I didn't even know you.
I'm so glad to hear that.
Yeah, I was just so proud. I'm like, this conference is in my home, my city, my home city, which I love. I love Vegas. I'm so passionate about Vegas, and I have such deep rooted feelings, for Vegas. I was just really, really proud. That's I don't know any other way to say it.
Oh, thank you. I'm so glad to hear it, because that is our goal. Like, we really truly want everybody to have a good experience, and that comes from attendees, speakers, vendors, everyone.
Right.
And I think because we do it because we want to, because we kind of fell into it, but we enjoy it. And so we're always we're always talking, like, how can we make it better? How can we make it funner? My husband, we talked about this. He goes around and checks on everybody. Are you doing good? Are you guys happy? Do you have everything you need? Because we truly want everyone to have a good experience. So when you say that, it makes me very happy.
Yeah. It shows. It shows. And I wouldn't say that. I'm not a candy coater or somebody that just kisses ass or no. I'm super genuine about that. And so I'm really excited to have you here and talk about conferences a little bit. I don't think, or I wonder if people attending the conferences really understand the work behind a great conference. Great being keyword, because not every conference is created equal. There are some conferences that are just not, they're just not well run, or they're not well organized, or it just feels like there wasn't a lot of thought or concern or organization put into them.
Yeah.
And it was the complete opposite with yours. So how far out in advance? So the next conference is this October, right? The 15th through the 19th.
Right.
So when did you start working? Do you start working on the next conference the day 2022 conference ends?
We are actually planning 2024 right now.
You're planning 2024.
Yeah.
And 2023 hasn't even taken place yet.
Yeah.
And I don't think people get that.
Yeah. No, it's a lot. It's a lot of moving parts, for sure.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. So you've been doing this since 2017. What were probably you got a whole list of mistakes and stuff that you messed up in the beginning, because I did as well.
Yeah.
But let's just narrow it down to two. Not to put you on the spot, but what were the two maybe biggest mistakes you made and had to rectify?
Yeah. So after COVID, during COVID, 3 weeks before COVID, actually, let me back up, our conference got canceled that year. And so we went online. We switched everything to online, and we wound up doing it through an app, which was amazing. So when 2021 conference came, it was our first conference that we were going to do that was going to be hybrid.
Okay.
And we were super excited about that.
So hybrid, you mean in person and online,
right?
Just so our listeners know. Okay.
And it was going to be streaming live.
Okay.
So it wasn't going to be online where they would just get a link with a replay. It was actually interactional. They were on the app. It was streamed live, and they could interact and ask questions.
So as the speakers on stage,
Yes.
Everybody on the app online who
Yes.
only signed up for online, they're actually watching
Yes.
live streaming.
They're watching live
Oh my
streaming.
gosh.
They can comment. They can
Okay.
chat.
Okay.
They can participate in the giveaways. We
Okay.
include them in as much as we can. So, you know, we're ready. You know, we think we've got everything ready. We're ready to start on the 8 a.m. and the audio isn't working for online. And of course, it's not me. It's the hotel.
Right.
You know, it's the audio engineers, which they assured me it'd be okay.
Right.
And so
Well,
I'm
they
just,
always assure you
Yeah.
everything's good. Don't worry about it. It'll be
and I was a
okay.
stress ball
Yeah,
about it. I
yeah.
kept saying, "Can we do a test run?
Right.
Can I just add the app?" And they said, "No, they got it. It'll be fine. They'll be there at 7, an hour before. It'll be fine." So I was so anxious about it. And then my worst nightmare comes true because the conference starts live. Everyone's doing great. Everyone's fine. Online through the app, I'm watching the chats and people are saying, "I can't hear. Where's the sound? This is not good." I was worried about attending online. My worries came true. I regret signing up. So I started getting kind of all these like really mean, upset messages. And my
Yeah.
goal is, of course, to do the best job. So I really take it to heart when it's not.
So you're panicking.
Absolutely. Panicking. I'm telling the engineer, hey, like they can't hear online. They can't hear online. He's trying to fix it. So I immediately start, you know, messaging everybody back. They're working on it. We'll get it up as soon as we can. Please just be patient. Give us a moment. But that was a very anxious time for me. And it took about 30 minutes and they got it online. And it was perfect. And then everybody started calming down saying, "Oh, we can hear it perfect. Thank you. It's great. It's this, it's that." But just those comments coming in, you know, right off the bat when we're
Yeah.
just starting,
Right.
it's like those fears you have. You have a fear of failing.
Yeah. And I think, you know, and probably, and what doesn't help, it just seems like people have gotten really impatient.
Oh,
Like the
absolutely.
second, I mean,
Absolutely.
something's not going right, a bunch of people, not everybody, of
Right.
course, but you know, a bunch of people just like start getting all up on your dizzle like right away, and they're
Yeah.
panicking and they're wanting their money back, and which
Yeah.
adds to your stress and your panic. If
Oh,
people
yes.
would just chill out for a minute, let you get the audio, right?
Yeah. And it was fixed. I mean, the engineer fixed it. He connected. He did what he needed to do. And I had some people that were nice in defending me, like, "Give her a minute. She said they're fixing it. I'm sure it'll be fine." So I was thankful for those people. But, you know, you just remember the 5 to 10 people that were upset is what we tend to do. We
Right.
don't look at the people that
Because
were.
they're the loud ones, right? That's what it's like, the negative news. That's
Yeah.
the news that always,
Yeah.
you know, makes the headlines and everybody keys into. But it's yeah. So
Yeah.
I know. So okay. So what was the mistake in that? Like what, sourcing out your audio to the hotel or?
I think I'll blame the hotel on that one. No, I wanted to do the pre-run and we didn't. So
Right.
the way it was connected from their audio to the app,
Yeah.
it was just not done. I think there was like a direct connect they were supposed to do, and they kind of went around it. It was like connected through my laptop, so they had to do it direct, something like that. But I think now, obviously, for the next year, it was smooth, no problems, no glitches. We're experts now because we went through that year. But I think the other mistake I made too was it's hard to ask for help.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people feel that. I don't like to bother people. I know everyone's busy doing their thing, so it's very
Right.
hard for me to ask. And so that year too, I kind of took everything on myself.
Yeah.
And I mean, that conference, I think I told you I got 2 or 3 hours sleep a night.
Well, and you
It
might
was-
not have realized what you were taking on
I
either,
didn't.
Melissa, because, you know, you went into it with all great intentions and this, that, and the other. And sometimes we just can't, you know, forecast or foresee what we're actually getting ourselves
Yeah.
into and what it's going to take.
Yeah.
Just getting to know you, you know, you're the type, you want it perfect. You want
Yeah.
your, you know, you take seriously, they're spending a lot of money to get here, their airfare, hotels, and you take that, you know, really personally.
Yeah.
And you feel really responsible. And so, so I get it. So did you not tell me that, was I mistaken? So now actually friends and family are doing your audio,
Yes.
your video, and all this stuff. So you
Yeah.
don't source it out to the hotel anymore.
No, the hotel requires their engineer be there. So they're
Right.
kind of on staff doing
Right.
nothing.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, we
on
have
staff doing nothing.
yeah, and staff billing us at a very high rate.
I was going to say, are you sure nothing?
Yeah.
I think they're probably at least billing you.
Yeah. Well, and I have to say, they're
Sending
making
invoices.
yeah, a very large amount.
Yeah.
They're making sure the screens are up and the lighting's up, I guess. But the guy looks pretty
I
bored.
think we dealt with this too, because we did ours
Yeah.
at the Nugget, and it's like
They require.
yeah, because it's like an insurance thing,
Yeah.
a liability thing. I
Yeah.
think that they're so well. Good for you. So now it's like you and your husband, you run it. Like you're the admin, you're the organizer, you do all that. Your husband's the schmoozer, the
Yeah.
announcer. He
The
goes around,
MC.
the MC.
Yeah.
He goes around, he talks to all the vendors, he
Yeah.
makes everybody feel at home, and all your friends and family
Yep.
are now doing the video, the app, the audio,
The
and all that
uploading
stuff.
of the replays.
So it's become kind of a family thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know if I've come across that yet in conferences.
Yeah, no, it's all our family and friends, and it I think really changes the atmosphere because everyone's rooting for us, but they all want it to be a success. It's not just they're there getting paid their hourly pay; like they actually care.
It's probably a big part of
Yeah.
your success with this conference, because no one is going to care about your business or your customer as much as your husband, your
Right.
family, your besties. No one,
Right.
right? If you're
Yeah.
just hiring people you don't know and it's a paycheck
Yep.
to them, it's just another job to them.
Exactly.
But to your friends and your family and your husband, it's not just it's an experience. It's
Yeah, and if anybody goes up and asks a question or has an issue, they immediately take
Yeah.
care of it or run back to me. Hey, this lady has this happening. She needs help with this, and we go and we try to fix it, help them, whatever we need to
Right,
do to
right.
make them feel comfortable.
right.
So,
So are you better delegating now? Like not taking everything on yourself, or are you still
I think it's innate in me. In every way, in every aspect of my life, I feel like I'm a middle child. I don't know. They say that tends to be a middle child thing. Like you don't ask for help, kind of just do your thing.
right?
But no, last year I did. I got a lot more help, and I was able to sit at the lunches because the year before I didn't eat lunch.
Yeah.
I was able to enjoy the parties and really get to talk to the artists, talk to the attendees.
I think
and
that's
be a part of
important,
it.
and I think it's
Yeah.
really good for you, and I think
Yeah.
it's good for your
Oh, yeah.
attendees. Like I think a lot of the attendees, they want to meet and know the conference owner. I think because I think a lot of people, most I would say, if not all, are really appreciative
Oh, that's
of people like you and other conference owners that
Yeah.
are putting in the work and sacrificing to put on these shows, because
Yeah.
it's a big show,
yeah.
and a lot goes into it. So and they want to get to know the conference owner. I think a lot
And
of
I
them
enjoy
do.
it too. I mean, I'm a talker, I'm social, so I like walking
Yeah.
around and getting to know everybody and meeting them and talking with them and hearing where they're from.
Yeah,
I mean, every year I take it as a compliment
yeah.
that they've come from Germany. We have a guy from Nigeria who comes every year.
Oh, not fantastic.
Yeah, I love him. We have people come from the UK. We have in Australia. I mean, just all over. So I know what it takes to
Yeah.
travel and the time and the money and to get there. So that to me is a compliment that they took that time.
Yeah, you're creating community,
Yeah.
right? If a conference is done well
Mm-hmm.
and with the right intention behind it,
Yeah.
and yours have been going on since 2017.
Yeah.
So now it's year after year. You're actually creating community, Melissa,
And so many collaborations.
via conference.
And collaborations.
Yeah.
I mean, people come up to us, hey, I met, so-and-so last year, one of the vendors made a connection in South Korea. Another one made connections in Japan. And they come up at the break. Guess what, Melissa? We made this connection. We're going to work together. Yes, that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's the point.
Yes.
That's what we want to hear.
Yeah,
Or artists who maybe don't offer something another artist does are going to refer to each other now because they didn't know each other,
Right.
lived so close to each other.
Right.
And then they meet at the conference and they're like, oh, you live right by me.
Yeah.
Like we can help each other.
100%. And I
Yeah.
think for a lot of artists, they're isolated,
Yeah.
right? They're in areas, rural areas, or in areas where there's not other permanent makeup artists, or and they're just isolated. They
Yeah.
and they just don't have that connectivity with other artists. And in conferences like yours provide that. And I think conferences can be really inspiring.
Yeah.
Really inspiring to artists of all ages, all skill levels,
Yes.
all years, no matter how many years you've been in the business. I remember my very first conference, and I was I think I was I was 2 years into PMU, And 2 years into PMU, and I remember my very first conference and the feeling. I can actually go back and still feel that feeling.
Yeah.
And I fell in love with conferences like that moment.
Yeah.
And so I still am. I love conferences. People people ask us all the time, are conferences worth it?
Yeah.
You know, because it's expensive, especially nowadays, you know, with the economy. Airfare is expensive. Hotels have all, you know, even in our city, you know, the hotels have all gone up. Maybe even ticket prices have gone up because it's probably more expensive for you now to put on a conference, right? So it's expensive. And so we get asked all the time, is it worth it? And my constant answer is yes, it's worth it. Do you know? But I think they have to decide what they're going there for.
Exactly.
You know, like
what their expectations are.
What their expectations
I agree.
Right? Some people have unrealistic expectations, like they think they're going to learn procedure inside and out and leave that conference and be able to go execute an eyeliner or something like that. So that can be a little unrealistic.
Right.
I kind of always looked at conferences as like a buffet of topics and procedures. You're getting like your toe dipped in a little bit, and you get to know that artist, that trainer, and they're introducing you to eyeliner removal or needle or whatever it is, and that allows the artist, the young artist, to you know, does that resonate with them? Is this something that, man, this is fascinating to me. I want to go learn more. You know.
And we hear that. We've had people attend and they say, you know, certain topic, they're like, that's not something I thought I would want to get into. But then they hear the presentation and they're so excited. And they're like, oh, I want to learn that. And that's why we do it. And then on top of that, we include business topics, marketing topics, because so many people get in the industry and they think business is just going to fall on their lap. It's not. It's hard to find clients.
Well, it's marketed like that in our industry.
Yeah, it's not that easy.
It's not easy to build a clientele and start earning income. And I think the average income is, there was just a study done last year, and I think the average income was like $50,000 a year.
That's what I saw too.
Yeah. But if you watch Instagram, you know, and you know, with some of these, you know, trainings, and you know, they'll have you think you can be earning, you know, a six-figure income in 6 weeks just by taking their classes. So I think a lot of people do get into the industry, and then they're sadly they're, you know, they're faced with, you know, reality. It can take, you know 5-6 years to build a consistent clientele. You know. Where you can actually, you know, pay your bills and don't have to work a second job. I mean, so
it's like any business. You have to start off slow and you work your way up. And then on top of that, we even bring we have a legal topic too, like how to protect yourself legally. I see through my daughters, the younger girls anyways, they're like, oh, that's not going to happen. Like, no, you can get sued. Like, you have to protect your copyright. You have to protect you. You have to have E&O insurance. We have insurance companies coming. We have a plastic surgeon coming. He's going to talk about identifying and avoiding problematic clients. That tends to happen.
That is a great topic. I talk about that on this podcast.
Yeah, you do. Yeah,
I do. And then sometimes I'm like, ooh, I hope some of my clients weren't listening.
Well, hopefully they don't know it was them.
No, we're always a little vague. We just give scenarios, but you know, I've tattooed over like 20,000 procedures at this point. You know, and thank goodness, most people are good. Most of your clients are a joy. But there's always that 5% that, you know, it can be a nightmare. They can be litigious. They can go on Yelp and try to destroy your business with bad review. It's horrible. So I think those are all really, really important, really important topics. Let me see, what else do I get on my list here? Let's talk about not specifics, but the financial responsibility of a conference owner, because I think that's important for conference goers to understand too. Like, not just because what I want conference goers to really get how much work, what you put on the line financially to put this on. Because maybe if they really understand, because it's just like anything, right? They just, there's this whole thing where they see the success
Yeah,
but
must
they
be
don't
so easy.
see that
Yeah.
15-year or 10-year journey with all the failures and
Yeah.
all the, sleepless nights.
Yes.
They just see the success.
Yeah.
And I think that can happen with conferences. They walk in and they see this,
Right.
and, but if one little thing, if their lunch wasn't good,
Right.
then now they're going to bitch and, pardon my French, they're going to, maybe give a bad review or whatnot. But when Kat and I put on America the Beautiful,
Yeah.
oh my gosh,
I know.
the financial,
Yeah.
we were having to write checks so big, it almost felt like Monopoly money.
Yeah.
And so you have to write a big old fat check just to secure the venue,
Right.
just to secure the venue.
Right.
And then you hope and pray
Right.
that you sell enough tickets
Right.
to pay that check off, right? And then then you get billed again from the casino.
Yeah.
And then you get billed again from the casino. And then
Yeah.
you have a balance.
Yeah.
And then you have to pay for the food, the party.
Yep.
The party, right? Ours was at the Golden Nugget. And I can say my numbers. I don't want you to say your numbers.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
for me, do you remember this, Kat? At the Golden Nugget, we put on a party,
Yeah.
4 hours, hired a DJ.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know that? You know what I had to write for a check? $19,000.
That was actually good. That's good.
Melissa almost had a heart attack.
I know.
$19,000.
I know. Yeah.
I was like, for 4 hours.
Yeah.
I mean, we did have some showgirls. We had good food because I knew they were going to be drinking alcohol.
Right.
So we wanted to make sure we just didn't have foo-foo, crappy
Right.
food flowing around. We had some like burgers and some heavy food that was going to fill their bellies.
Yeah.
But I was like $19,000.
Yeah.
So after, a couple of years of putting on conferences, like my newfound respect for people like you was like
Yeah.
immense. But it's a lot. And
It
even though you've got a lot of conferences under your belt,
Every time.
is it still
It's
like, oh
still
my God,
Every time.
every
Because,
time?
you still have that what if moments.
Yeah.
And the schedules, like you said, you put a deposit to reserve the date. So we're
Right.
already putting deposit for 2024.
Yes.
And then they have this schedule where you have a deadline to pay this much, and then you have another deadline to pay this much.
Yes.
And at certain deadlines, it's non-refundable.
That's right.
Yes, it's
So if-
non-refundable.
Right. So if you don't sell enough so if you pay all this money
Right.
and you got 10 people coming to your
Right.
conference,
Too bad.
the casino, the hotel, the venue,
Yes.
they don't care.
No,
You ain't getting a refund, no credit, no nothing.
no.
Right.
And so, yeah, those moments always come where you think, okay, and it's every year, because it's like, okay, what if this year's different?
right.
And every year we've seemed to, do better and better, which is what you hope for.
Right.
But always is that, and I hate paying that check. I hate it.
I know.
Every
Well,
time the date comes,
yeah,
I hate it.
yeah.
I do.
Because it's massive money.
It
It's
is.
like an amount that you never thought
Yeah.
you would ever
No,
write, right?
ever.
Does it feel
No.
like Monopoly money to you,
Yeah.
like a little bit? Like,
Yes.
this doesn't even seem real.
Yeah, no, every time I get like anxiety, and then it's like, they send the email like, okay, this payment's due. And I wait till the very last minute, because I really do hate paying it.
I know.
And then
I
we do
know.
the VIP events too in the evenings.
Yeah.
So we have to pay above that
right.
for those events. And then the audio comes and they charge you.
Right.
And they charge you for the screens. And
Well,
they
me-
charge you for the
I
for
know.
the line, for the
They-
internet line.
No, they charge
To the computer.
Yes, and Wi-Fi, and
And to
this,
tape
and that.
to tape the wires down so no one gets hurt. My husband said, "Oh, I'll tape it." We have people. No, they have to tape it, and I think it's like
yes.
$100 per
Oh yes,
tape or something.
They charge
Do
you.
you want a plug?
Yes. Yeah, if you want electricity and a
Yes.
plug.
Yeah.
This is what Kat and I learned.
Right. It's a
You
lot.
know, and this is what just everyday PMU artists going to these conferences, I don't think they understand.
Yeah.
This is why I really wanted to do this podcast with you, Melissa,
Thank
because I
you. I
think it's
appreciate it.
important
Yeah,
for
I
people
appreciate
to
it.
really know like what you put on the line. And I think they think people that put on conferences like are rich. Well,
Yeah.
they must be rich.
Yeah.
They must have a lot of money. And we're just hardworking people.
Still a risk. Any business you do, you're taking a risk.
Yes.
And it is a risk. It's a
it's a
high
big risk. And if
It
it
is.
fails,
Yeah.
I mean, it can financially, really hurt you.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Put a big old dent in your checking account.
Absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely.
It's like, honey, we're gonna go get a You're going to go work more hours. You need to book more eyebrows.
I know. And every year, you know, in the news, I talk about the economy, what's happening. I'm always, you know, glued listening like, okay, is it going to be bad? Is it going to affect? Are people still working? You know, because those are the things I'm paying attention to because, like you said, I'm seeing the money going out.
Exactly.
And then if you advertise for it, that money's going out too.
Yes.
I mean, it's
well, and nowadays you have to market and advertise because there's a lot of conferences. I think people look at a conference, especially one like yours, right, which is well done. It looks effortless. And I think they think it's easy.
And that's a compliment. If it looks easy, I guess you did a good job.
No.
Everyone thinks it's so easy.
No,
but
they think it's easy.
Yeah.
But a conference well done, it looks like it was easy.
Yeah.
And then I think people get in their mind, this looks easy. They must be making a ton of money. I can do this.
Right.
And then you have all these, you know, conferences. And there are a lot of conferences in our industry. So you do have to market. But, you know, the fact that yours has been a steady constant since 2017. You got 7 under your belt. Your 8th one's about to execute in October. You just let us know you've got 2024.
Yeah.
That is a testament to you, your husband, your friends, your family, and the quality of your conference.
Yeah.
So I hope you take it as such.
Thank you.
Yeah.
No, I do.
Feel proud.
Thank you. No, that's the biggest compliment to me.
Yeah.
Is when I hear the testimonials, people coming up to me and saying they made connections. Like you said, artists who don't know anybody now have like 3 friends where they live and they're all going to help each other. That's the stuff that makes us happy.
Yeah.
Like we actually sit at night after my husband's like, oh yeah, so-and-so told me they did this. And I'm like, yeah, so-and-so told me.
You get all giddy.
Yeah. That's what we're truly happy about.
Right.
You know, I mean, those are the things that really make it worth it for us.
Yeah.
And then people saying, please do another one. Like, please don't stop. Like, we really like it. We really want to come. I'm like, okay, you know, that's what I think keeps us going.
It does, and it's. I know marketing helps, of course, because it gives, you know, the event exposure. But it really is. I think a lot of it is organic. It's word of mouth. It's people that have attended your conference, and you know had a blast, and they're telling everybody.
Yeah,
and they're telling everybody. You know, like me. You know, we've been telling everybody.
And you didn't even get the full experience.
I did not get the full experience.
You
I know I did not. So I'm really excited this time to get the full experience.
Yeah.
I'm actually participating a little bit in your conference this year.
Super excited.
Which I'm really excited about.
Yeah.
I'm going to be, can we?
Yeah,
can
absolutely.
I tell 'em?
Yeah.
So you do a workshop. So you have your live speakers. So I did think you were a little crazy. I got to admit.
Like, no, it's a lot.
Because like our conference was 3 days long, and I thought at the end of 3 days, I mean, I'm in a coma for like a week.
Yeah, we do. We sleep for like a week after.
Yeah, but yours is 5 days long, Melissa.
Yeah.
What were you thinking?
Yeah, it's just gotten bigger and bigger because we keep trying to squeeze everything in with all these ideas.
Right.
And my husband is one that he's like, so backing up a little bit, the demos.
Right.
We tried that last year Monday night, and then it was a success. And then this year he says, let's do it all day Sunday. And I said, all day? He was all day. I go, okay, wait, because we're setting up and the vendors are setting up.
Right.
And I'm, you know, a planner. So I'm thinking,
Right.
okay, so we're going to do it like, I think it's 4 hours, not a whole day, but a half day.
Well, you know, that gets me out of having to set up.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
yeah.
that's where I was.
Sorry, guys.
That's what I was thinking. So, I mean, sorry, Olivia, Kat, Willow. But I'm going to be one of your live demo artists. So it's so you reserve a room,
right?
Because I don't know if our listeners know what we mean by live demo. So you reserve a room and you have artists that are doing live procedures all at the same time, right?
So 8 to 10 at once. So not too many, but enough that they can walk around and
they do. They just walk around and they observe.
Have champagne and
you
music.
have champagne.
And music.
For the attendees only, not the artists.
No, yeah, exactly. We don't want you drinking.
Let's just make that clear.
Yeah. After you're done.
Yeah, after you're done. And so I'm going to be participating, and I'm doing high saturation eyeliner,
which is really exciting.
I'm really excited about it.
We don't have a lot of eyeliners, so we're looking forward to yours.
Not a lot of people in our industry are doing eyeliners. You know, they're doing brows. They're afraid of eyeliners, and I'm really trying to address that and get more brow artists into eyeliners. So Yeah, I'm really super excited. So
Yeah.
eyeliner's my jam. It's just learning the do's and don'ts and stuff. And I do high saturation eyeliner.
Right.
Where means it heals black in 7 days. That client has like, black
Right.
eyeliner, which a lot of clients want. So a little bit different because I
Yeah.
think nowadays the trend is the what's Christina
Powdery.
Melichecco call hers?
Foxy.
Stardust
yeah.
eyeliner. Yeah, she's a good friend of mine, by
Yeah,
the way. So,
yeah.
And so that's the trend. That's what's being
Right.
taught a lot. But about upwards of 70% of the clients want black. They want black eyeliner.
Right.
They want.
They don't
bold
want the whole.
They
yeah.
don't want the soft, the soft look. They want black. So I'm really excited.
Yeah.
Really, really
We're
super
super
excited.
excited.
Yeah,
About that.
yeah. I'll be a little nervous day of.
Yeah. That's normal.
Yeah.
But
Yep. I will
it's
be
a lot of
wearing.
fun.
Yeah, I'll be wearing like Secret instead of my organic natural deodorant. Yeah, that's when I switch. That's when I wear my Secret.
Yeah.
So yeah, but no, I'm excited. And so, do you kind of rotate them? Do you have like 8 to 10 at first, and then they're done, and then the second part of the day you have 8 to 10?
No. So the way it works is, we have 8 to 10, and while they're doing their 8 to 10, the room next door is setting up.
Gotcha.
So they'll be in that room, and then they'll switch to the other room.
Okay.
So they'll just kind of spend like an hour. We're going to kind of gauge hour and a half, see how people are feeling.
Yeah.
And then they'll move to the next room for the next 8 to 10.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Got you. Is this included
Yeah.
in the ticket price?
Everything's included.
It's all included.
All of it.
That's
yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. And we brought it in because, as you know, the first conference we did, we had demos live during the conference. And what happens is it takes so much time
Yeah.
and people don't show up. So we wound up having maybe 2 or 3 speakers a day, and we would go overtime, and it was just too long.
Right.
So during COVID, we realized the trainers pre-record the demo. They do a PowerPoint. They pre-record the demo when they're presenting live.
Right.
Keeps us exactly on time. They pick the perfect model. It's on
Yep.
big screens anyway.
Yeah.
So even if they were in the room doing it live, you are watching it on a screen.
Right.
The trainers are at ease because they know which model. They're not worried about them not showing up. They explain it step by step. That way, we're able to have 4 to 5 presentations a day. But we know people like the live model.
Yeah.
The live
No,
model.
I think it's brilliant.
So we did that.
yeah.
So they get both.
Yeah. No, I think it's brilliant. And then the trainer, the artist like me, I can take my time doing eyeliner because, I want to
Right.
be able to explain step by step. Why am I doing
Right.
this? Why do I stretch this way? Why am I moving my
Yes.
needle this way? And I want to be able to explain.
Yeah.
And
And it's kind of a more relaxed, friendly environment.
yeah.
And last year we tested it out that Monday night, and everybody loved it so much. So
Yeah.
we were
Well,
like,
I
that
love
works.
tattooing live.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
It's fun for me.
Yeah.
So,
I think a lot of the trainers like it.
yeah,
So
it's just really fun. You
Yeah.
just get to have a blast, and I enjoy it. So let's talk about. Let me see. Let me get my glasses on.
yeah.
Okay. So I got a couple questions for you.
Okay.
Okay. So have you ever
Mm-hmm.
been standing in the back, conferences going on, speakers on there, and
Yeah.
been like, oh no. Oh no.
Yeah.
Can we shut
Yes.
the lights off? Can we, one of those canes, like
Turn the
slapstick
audio off?
Yeah, can we turn the audio off? Has that happened to you yet?
Yes.
Oh
it
my
has.
gosh. Yeah.
It's very, very nerve wracking because you never want to make anybody feel bad.
Right.
You have to be polite, but you can kind of gauge the audience too. And yeah, we've had, unfortunately.
And it's like you don't really know.
right.
It's kind of like dating, right?
Right.
It's like you don't really know until you get into a little bit on whether they're
Yeah.
going to be a good speaker or the type of speaker your particular audience is going to resonate with
Right.
and enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
So that was always really, really stressful for me. And
Yes.
we've had that happen as well.
Mhm.
And it was like, oh my gosh, like
Mm.
kill me now.
Yeah. It's just another anxiety.
It's another
thing to worry
anxiety.
about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
No, we
know.
had the same issue. Yeah.
So what do you think makes, in your opinion, what do you think makes a good speaker? I wrote a little list.
Yeah.
You want to just go with my list?
Yeah. Well, I can add to it. If it's not
Okay.
everything that I agree with, I'll add my 2 cents.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So I think education first and foremost.
Right.
I
Yeah.
think first and foremost in that hour, if all you have is an hour,
Mhm.
like that hour is filled with education, not self-promotion.
Right. Value. Yeah.
Value,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because we had that happen. And I've been to conferences where that hour, an hour and a half, it was 80% self-promotion.
Yeah.
They're promoting their classes, their products, their
no.
training, self-promotion.
Mm-hmm.
And that just annoys
Yeah.
the crap out of me.
I think everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, we actually have it in our contract that they can't
No
do that.
self-promotion.
No.
But you can give little nuggets.
Well, and
Like
they're
if-
going to meet them after and they can talk to them
Right.
after, but not the whole speech is about, like you said. Yeah, we learned that one too. So
Right. Yeah. And with some speakers, you have to make that very, very clear
Right.
because they're self-promoting. That's
Mhm.
that's how they see that time as to
Mhm.
self-promote, not
Educate.
to educate.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So that's a big one. Good. So you agree with me on that one?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. No, I think knowing your topic,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
I've experienced that as well. Like speakers getting up there and you can tell they haven't been in that procedure long enough, or they just don't really understand
Right.
their topic enough. They haven't,
The confidence and the
yeah,
knowledge. Yeah.
yeah.
Mhm.
So knowing your topic.
Yep.
I think number 3 is being engaging and entertaining. Does that
I
make
agree.
sense to you?
Yes. Yep. I was going to add that if you didn't.
Okay.
So they're able to connect with the audience.
Yeah.
And it can be nerve-wracking. I give them, I mean, I admire people who can get up and speak in front of that many
100%.
people. But there are speakers who can interact and joke and get the audience engaged.
Yes.
And it makes all the difference.
It makes all the difference.
Yeah.
And it takes time to learn how to do, because you are nervous up there.
Oh, yeah.
Like you don't want to make a mistake.
Yeah.
You know, and you want them to like your lecture so much you get like super nervous. And you know, when you
Yeah.
look out and you see hundreds of eyes staring
yeah.
back at you, you're like,
Yes.
oh my God, right?
Yeah.
But I think some little tips I would give a speaker is like, you know, when you walk on, look to the left, look to the right, look to the middle, make eye contact.
Mm-hmm.
I like to pick people out during my lecture.
Yeah.
And
Do you agree? Or
do you agree?
Yeah.
Does that make sense to you?
Mm-hmm.
I like to do that. I like
Yeah.
to like call them out by the shirt they're wearing, or you know, things like that.
Yeah.
But not too funny.
Right.
Because I think if you're too funny and then that can get a little annoying too. So
Right.
it's this nice balance of
Mhm.
education. What do you feel about F-bombs on the stage?
Mm,
You don't like F-bombs?
not really.
What if they're strategically placed?
Maybe.
What it's not like
Yeah.
the F word like
Every other word.
sentence, but what if
it's
they're
for emphasis?
strategically I took a class with
For
Tony
emphasis.
for emphasis.
Yeah.
right.
That would make sense.
I took I studied with Tony Robbins.
Yeah.
And he strategically places
Really?
F-bombs
Interesting.
in his lectures.
Hmm.
Yes. And
Maybe it wakes people up a little bit.
that's exactly what
Is
he
it?
said he does
Oh.
it. He goes, it's strategic.
Oh, okay.
You just strategically place them
Yeah.
like maybe twice in your
Right.
lecture to wake them up or to emphasize like a
Right.
really profound, something that you want them to feel like
Passionate about.
passionate
Yeah.
about.
That makes
So-
sense. I haven't had it happen, to be honest. I haven't had anybody ask or even do it, but that makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
that makes
I have
sense.
dropped an F-bomb on
Yeah.
stage once
And
or twice.
what was the reaction? Laugh?
Total laughter because
Yeah.
I'm not a big F-bomb person.
Right. So it made an
So,
impact.
Yeah, I think they were shocked
Right.
because I present, I think, serious
Mhm.
and but funny,
Right.
but super serious when I'm talking PMU
Mhm.
and I and so yeah, and I like everybody to get along, and I'm professional, and so I think it's a little I think they're not expecting it.
Yeah. So it worked.
Yeah, but if you don't want me to do an F-bomb,
Oh, no.
I will not.
If it's strategically placed and you get, and you get a laugh, by all means, I might have to tell Eric to do that. Like, Eric, guess what? You're going to have to say the
Yeah.
F word a couple times.
Yeah.
When you see them sleeping and like they're not awake, just
Yeah,
drop it.
I mean it works. I know. But when it's said too much, and then
It
it's kind of like
loses.
potty mouth, and it becomes
It loses any-
unattractive.
yeah.
and
That's
and
what
and
when you
not
said
classy.
when you said that, that's what I was picturing. Someone who's
Yeah.
every other word F
No,
this, F
no,
that,
I
F.
can't say that.
Yeah.
No. We did have that with a speaker one time
Yeah.
at ATB, and it
It's
was
not
just too
professional, I
much.
feel like.
No, and I was cringing a little bit. It was
Yes.
like, oh my God, it's just not professional. It's a little tacky, and I
Right.
didn't really care for it. But
Yeah.
like I said, if it's
Strategically placed.
Yeah, strategically placed.
Gonna tell
F-bombs.
Eric. You might hear him say it one of these
Yeah,
times.
I do one every now and then on the podcast too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
I won't be shocked. I might laugh.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
might make me
Well,
laugh.
we haven't done one yet today though, but this is really good stuff. I don't feel like I need
Yeah.
to wake anybody up. I
Yeah.
think this is really good stuff. Okay, I think so we agree on all the good speaker.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the other thing I had was open to answer questions from the audience and not get a little stinky if maybe it's a question you don't care for, or if someone questions you
Right.
on one of your philosophies.
Mm-hmm. Which
that-
they do.
Which 100% they
Always
do.
do. Yeah.
And sometimes in the audience they'll do it with grace and they'll do
Right.
it respectfully, and sometimes they don't do it with grace.
They don't. Yeah.
And
I've seen both.
they'll do a little snatchy.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's important for a speaker, if you're going to be in that space and do that, I think you need to be really open and okay with answering questions, even if the question comes across a little,
Rude.
rude.
Yeah.
I think you got to be able to way to diffuse that
Right.
and answer it really professionally,
Exactly.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So
no,
my
I
whole,
agree.
if that happens to, but I think, Melissa, there's a way to present your philosophies without offending people either.
I agree.
It's
Mhm.
like it's tactful. It's you got to find a way to navigate, because I'm opinionated
Yeah.
in my philosophies and the needle choices I use and why I do
Right.
this and why I do that. But when I lecture like on needles, I fully understand there's single needle users, there's big
Right.
shader users, there's mag users,
Right.
and I present in a way where even if I'm expressing my opinion, my
Right.
personal preference, and it's in a way that absolutely would never offend
Right.
or come across as putting down
Exactly.
their particular needle choice or
Right.
their particular philosophy.
Yeah, and that's the key. You can't badmouth someone else
Yeah.
because there's a technique that you
Right.
prefer. And I think that's the key.
It-
Yeah. Is the way
Right.
that you present it.
Yeah, and I think that comes with experience too. 'Cause
Right.
too many times I've seen speakers put their foot in their mouth on
Right.
stage.
And it could just be nerves even. Like they maybe didn't even mean to. Or I've had people ask them. I feel like they ask the question trying to get them in trouble.
Well, yeah, there's instigators.
Yeah, exactly.
In the
I've
audience,
seen that too.
for sure.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
and not everybody in your audience likes every speaker. Maybe they took a class with them and it was a bad experience, and maybe this is
Right.
their time to ooh,
Yeah, I'm gonna get you back.
I'm gonna get you a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, it happens.
Right.
But okay, that was my list.
No, you covered everything. I was going to say the part about interacting with the audience if you didn't.
Yeah.
I think that makes a big difference
That
on
it-
being a really good speaker. And
Yeah.
the speakers a lot of people tend to remember, because we do surveys. We always want to know what we're doing wrong, what we're doing right, how do we be better. So we do surveys. And I noticed that a lot of the trainers who are interactive like that usually get the higher
Yeah.
approval.
Yeah.
They're the ones they like the best.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's important. I put a lot of thought into my outfit too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really do. Like for days.
Yeah.
I drive cats nuts. Yeah.
I think everyone does.
Yeah.
I've had trainers say they're already starting. Like they're already.
Yeah.
they've already
Yeah.
bought.
I want to look really. I want to look really handsome up
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
No, I think
Yeah.
everyone is. Yeah.
And cat makes me wear a jacket.
I like jackets.
Yeah, like a nice
Mhm.
jacket. The last conference I was at, though, it was so hot in there, and you do
Yeah.
get a little anxiety right before you go on
Yeah.
stage. The minute I get on stage,
Yes.
it goes away,
Right.
and I'm like super
But that's
comfortable.
just normal. Yeah.
Right. But I was so afraid. But I'm getting hot flashes now.
Oh.
Yes, I'm constantly having to ask, is it hot in here or am I having a hot flash?
I've
So-
started doing that too a little bit.
It sucks.
I know.
It sucks.
My daughters are like, no, Mom, it's not.
I
I'm like,
know.
oh, I thought it got hot. Especially in Vegas, because it can do that. Like, depending on where you are, like the
Yes.
AC is not the best, and you're like, oh, is it
Yeah,
hot?
yeah.
I'm like, no, just you.
Well, I'm on stage and I got my jacket on
Yeah.
and I get a hot flash.
Oh.
And so you know how that feels. I have to take my jacket off, Melissa. I
Yeah.
have to, or
Yeah.
I'm going to die.
Yeah, it feels like you're on fire.
Yes, and in front of like all kinds of people, like in a flash, I'm thinking, oh my God, if I take my jacket off, are my pits wet? Are they going to see? Can they see it? If they
Oh,
are,
no.
it's like all this.
Got to wear dark colors.
Gotta wear dark.
Yeah,
and
the
I have to-
undershirt can't be
Yeah,
light.
Exactly.
Can't be
exactly.
light. It's gotta be
little,
dark.
Little things you learn, and I learned to put Vaseline on my lips too.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, Vaseline on the lips. That
Yeah.
helps.
You get dry mouth if you're nervous.
You get you get a little bit of dry, and you're talking for like an hour and a half straight.
Yeah.
And you're laughing, you're talking, and your mouth gets dry. So Vaseline helps a little bit too.
That's a good tip. We'll put some Vaseline up there.
We
try to put water bottles up on the pedestal.
Yeah.
Now we'll put Vaseline too.
Yeah, a little Vaseline.
Yeah, that
helps
idea.
a lot. That helps a lot.
Yeah.
Okay. What do you think about? I was on Facebook. We talked a little bit about this before we went on air, but it was a Facebook post that kind of was going on. There was quite a few conferences, and it was about conferences.
Yeah.
And no particular conferences were mentioned, but it was a post about conferences. And a couple of the key things I picked on, I just wanted to ask you like how you maneuver around, because I'm sure you're conscientious of these couple of things.
Yeah.
One comment I saw mentioned a lot, one thing is that it seems to be, for some people were mentioning it's the same speakers. They're seeing the same speakers at all the conferences.
Yeah.
So how do you are you aware of that and conscientious of that? Do you make sure that your speaker, like, do you bring in like new speakers? And then if a speaker was a hit the last year, you'll bring them back, but you make sure that there's a nice bag of returning speakers, new speakers?
Yeah. It's tough because we do have, we do surveys. We see who everybody liked the best. What I think a lot of people don't realize is if we invite somebody back, oftentimes it's a different topic. So if they see him one year and they see him the next year, it's a different topic completely. So we don't have them do the same topic again. But we do try to rotate out. And it's sad because there's so many that we love that we're like, we wish we could have them every year because they're just so amazing. They do a great presentation. They're easy to work with.
Right.
So it does make it tough. And what happens too is, we'll put our lineup up and then people will put theirs up for conferences after ours.
Right.
So they might have the same trainers, but we have no way of controlling that because we already had our lineup up. So if they get frustrated that the next conference they saw has some of our same trainers, that kind of tends to happen.
It's a little bit, beyond. It's like beyond the control of the conference owner sometimes because you have people that, speakers that do a lot of conferences per year. Right. Right. So.
Or I notice we tend to invite people and then they get invited to a bunch after ours.
Right.
So then, people will say, oh, it's the same one, but I can't.
Yeah. And I understood what they were saying. It can seem like some of the conferences, it's the same speakers, group of speakers doing, a few of the conferences back to back.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to touch on, you mentioned some speakers, right?
Yeah.
Some of them can be, I think that's another stressful part of putting on conferences is some of the speakers are not always easy to deal with.
Yeah.
Some of them come with an entourage?
Oh yeah. I come with a list. They have what do they do for singers? What do they call that? It's for bands when they come play. It's like a promoter. They have like
they want like only red M&Ms in their hotel room and they want this and they want that. What is that? Do you know what that's called?
There's a name for it.
There
My
is
husband
a name
would
for
know. It's something request, but it's a list of, you have to fulfill these requests.
You have to provide.
Right.
If you want, if I'm going to speak at your conference, you have to provide me with this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do get that. But and it's hard because, I try to bring people that I know other artists want to see and I know that they admire and look up to.
Right.
So I kind of have to just appease them and try to be customer service and not look at it from my own standpoint, but kind of, okay,
Yeah, but I don't know. I can't wrap my brain around that. I don't know why any permanent makeup artist would. I don't care how big you get in the industry.
I would never. I would just be thankful to be there, right?
Yeah.
That's how I view it too.
Yeah.
But you'd be surprised. You'd be surprised some of the big trainers.
Some people are not thankful. I think some, their ego gets so massive.
Right.
It's you, Melissa. You should be grateful.
Exactly.
They're coming to your conference and gracing your conference with their presence.
Absolutely.
Right?
Even though we talked about the risk and everything I'm putting on the line.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it becomes twisted. It's like I should be thankful that they are going to put,
Right.
it becomes.
Yeah. And it's sad, you know.
It is.
It's sad. I feel honored and privileged every time I get asked, and every time I get to. I look at it as an opportunity to engage with my peers.
Right.
And nowadays it's the younger artists, you know, and I'm an older artist. They call, you know, like a veteran if you want, or what do they call me? I can't remember. Oh, the GOAT. First time they called me the GOAT.
Yeah.
I thought it was I thought they were being mean.
Yeah, like, is that an insult?
Yeah, I looked at Kat and I'm like, why are they calling me the GOAT? I don't get it.
I know some of those terms lately. I don't get either.
But then then I figured out why. I'm like, oh, okay.
It was a compliment.
Okay, that's
a
cool.
good thing.
The GOAT. The GOAT. And then like they call Tom Brady the GOAT. I'm like, okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think 22 years in this business, I'm still getting asked. I'm still relevant, and I just have never been more thankful and more grateful. So it's just a real honor for me. It's a treat for me. So,
and it's great when most trainers and speakers are the way you are.
Yes.
And it makes our job so much easier. But it also creates that environment where everyone's so happy, because that kind of portrays their personality too when they're socializing.
Some of them are unapproachable.
Right.
Yeah, they're not approachable.
Right.
Yeah.
And so we try to bring everyone that is.
Right.
And especially, I feel like coming to the U.S., you know, coming to America, it's a big deal.
Right.
It's a big deal when you're from other countries that you're speaking in the U.S. And that's the kind of people we want there. We want people who are like you, who are thankful and appreciative and want to be there. And the attendees feel it.
Yeah.
The attendees feel it if you're not.
They absolutely do feel it. They absolutely feel it.
Yeah.
Okay. So the other comment I saw in this post was that conferences are trying to squeeze like too many speakers into, you know, their 3-day event, and giving everybody like a half hour, and there was a lot of back and forth on that, and you know, a lot of them, not everybody felt like this, but this is just one thing that keyed in. They feel there should be, like, speakers should have more time on stage, and there should be less speakers, so there's more education. How do you feel about that as a conference owner? Because you do 5 days, and you have lots of different speakers coming in from all over the world. So your philosophy is on that?
No, we absolutely schedule it so everyone has time.
Right.
So usually the layout is, if it's a PMU technique, they have an hour and a half.
Yep.
And we schedule in 30 minutes of Q&A after. If they're
they have an hour and a half to do their procedure, and then 30 minutes for Q&A. Gotcha.
Depending on the technique. Some techniques 45 minutes, so it's like an hour 30 total. But more or less, we schedule the time. They have enough time to explain their technique, show it on a model, and then have Q&A. And so, because we know that's important, and people like to have the Q&A. If it's a business topic, obviously it's shorter. Doesn't take as long. And the cool thing is, because we do a hybrid event, everyone gets access to our app. So all online attendees, all live attendees, all vendors, all speakers get access in the beginning of October, about 2 weeks before we start, so they can actually start networking and meeting. They make arrangements to sit together. They make arrangements to fly together. They make arrangements to room together. And it's pretty cool because people arrive already knowing each other, and I think that feeds to the ambiance of where it feels very comfortable. But the cool thing about the app is they can also ask questions. So when we upload the replay, there's a little section underneath the presentation. And let's say in the 30 minutes of Q&A, your question didn't get answered, which is more than likely. Could happen. I mean, there's a lot of questions.
Right.
You just go right on the app, and you keep asking questions under their upload of their replay. And the trainer goes on there and keeps answering the questions.
Right.
So the cool thing about our conference is everyone has access to free replays for 90 days. So they can continually go on there for support from the trainers. And let's say they implement the technique they taught. They can upload a picture and say, this happened, what do I do? The trainers go on there and answer. Other attendees with experience go on there and answer. So our conference kind of keeps going after it ends. It doesn't really end. It kind of keeps going, and our attendees continue to have support. And like that comment where they said that it was too much squeezed in and they didn't really learn, we don't really have anybody saying that. I've never had anybody complain.
And no conference was mentioned. This was just this general. It may have been posted by somebody who was maybe going to contemplating putting on a conference, because I didn't recognize the person who asked the question. But it did generate like 200 or 300 comments. And like I said, not one single conference was ever mentioned. It was just it was just people inputting what they like about conferences, what
Right.
they didn't like about, things like that. And I thought it was interesting. I
It
thought it was
is.
really, really, really interesting. But my thought on that is, like we mentioned earlier,
Yeah.
conferences are not like a hands-on class or a place where you go and you get to actually learn how to execute an eyeliner.
Right.
That's a master class or
Like a 2-day class.
or a 2-day class.
Right.
I think I look at the conferences as, like I said, like it's a introduction to topics and procedures from different artists and
Yeah.
trainers from all over the world, allowing you to have a little insight on
Right.
that procedure, that topic, and whether you want to pursue it or not. And for me, I think it's all mindset too. Every
Yeah.
single speaker I've ever sat in on, I've learned at least one nugget.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to say. Even if you're a intermediate or advanced artist,
Right.
and let's say you've been doing eyebrows forever,
Yeah.
you might learn one little tip or tweak from one of the trainers, and then it makes all the difference. And I've had many of our trainers watch the replays of the other trainers,
Yeah.
and now they're adding techniques. And
100%.
they've learned.
Yeah. Right down to just numbing or
Right.
or just one little thing that can take 10 minutes off your procedure
Exactly.
time or
Right.
help with healed in retention,
Right.
something like that. Just these
Exactly.
little nuggets.
Yeah.
It's the little things that matter. The little
Right.
things add up.
They absolutely do. And I tell people, you got to think in that room. We have beginners, we have intermediate, we have advanced. But in that room of people on the app, that support group, you have years and years of experience and mistakes made.
Right.
So you can save and avoid all of the mistakes they made. And imagine collectively, all together,
Yeah.
how much everybody helps each other
Right.
by what they've learned
Right.
and by their experiences.
Yep.
And that's what we love to see. That's the cool thing, is that you can just take one, even if just one little thing that you, like you said, 10 minutes off or a numbing. I mean, I had my brows done and they didn't numb me well and I didn't go back. It petrified me.
Right.
But you got to think of, are you going to get referrals? Are you going to have people talking good about you
Right.
if they're not numb? Because I wasn't going to recommend this person,
Right.
and I didn't go back.
And there's this new thing now of not numbing.
No,
right? This new generation.
I wouldn't do it.
Yeah,
I mean, I didn't go back for
know.
my touch up.
Me
It was so
too.
bad. Yeah.
Me too. I don't think any of my clients would let me near them with their eyeliner
Oh.
or lips if I didn't numb it. It's like a placebo
Yes.
thing, like
Yes.
a psychological
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah. If you go at them, they're like, wait, where's the cream?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I could even maybe just put Vaseline and say, yeah, I numbed you. I got numbing all over you.
Exactly.
They're going to be more comfortable.
Exactly. Absolutely.
Rather than telling them, no, I don't numb.
Yeah.
But
And then my daughter learned a tweak from at one of the conferences we did because she does microblading. And then she said, Mom, don't worry. I'm going to do the little tweak I learned on you. Magic, didn't feel it. It was amazing. And now she does all my touch-ups.
Right.
But because the first time I went, she hadn't learned it yet. She wasn't doing microblading. But those are the things that can really, people don't realize word of mouth and referrals, how important that is for a business.
it's super important.
Yeah.
It's super important. So, how long are you going? Oh, wait a minute, an hour? Oh my God, I could sit here and talk to you for another hour.
Oh, I can talk about my kids. Always like, she can talk. I could keep
yeah,
going.
but I like talkers on here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, really, the best podcasts
Right.
and are when people like you that can yak.
Yeah.
You know,
I
ba-
can.
back and forth,
Yeah,
right? It's
yeah.
like I've had people. The hardest podcasts are
Yeah.
when.
I can imagine.
And I'm trying to.
Yes.
It almost starts feeling like an interview. I'm trying to pull out of them, and I feel like I have to carry the whole podcast.
Right.
You know, which I do, but I don't
Right.
enjoy that. It's
Yeah.
a lot of pressure. So
It's a lot more work. Yeah,
it's a
I've
lot
had
more
those
work.
conversations.
So I like having people on here that
Yeah.
like to talk.
Yeah.
So let's just finish this with. I'm just gonna give you the mic.
Mm-hmm.
Anything you want to tell my listeners, your listeners now.
Well, don't
about
forget about
my code.
yes.
My code. Okay,
Yeah.
so I'm gonna look in the camera.
Yeah.
So you guys,
Yeah.
I am going to be at the PMU conference again. It's October 15th through the 19th here in Vegas at the Cosmo. I am going to be doing a live eyeliner. Are you finding me my model?
Either
Or am I
way,
finding my
you
model?
can do it or we can.
Have you had your eyeliner done? I'm just kidding. But I'm going to be doing a live eyeliner demo. I'm going to, with my needle, my technique, my movement, high saturation. I'll be narrating all the way through it. I'm super excited. I'll answer any question you have for me. And if you want to, I'm hoping all of you will join us for this conference, support this conference. This conference deserves your support. It's that good. Use my code Teryn, Teryn, all capitals, and you get a discount. Melissa, can you tell them the discount? Because I forgot.
Yeah, sure. So they'll get an additional $100 off bronze or platinum, and then they get $200 off VIP. And VIP, we only have like 8 spots left. And it is, I mean, we call it the ultimate VIP experience, but it truly.
Well, you told me what they get to do, and you told me don't say it on the air.
Lots
it's a
of
surprise. So I'm not even going to talk about the VIP because I might spill the beans. But your VIP package is not just a little bit more in the goodie bag and they sit up front.
It's a whole experience.
It's, well, when you told me what it was, it's pretty mind-blowing.
Yeah.
Right. So this VIP, if it's in your budget, this VIP ticket is worth it. It's mind-blowing. And I think it's fabulous. I've never heard of that for a VIP ticket before. So I think you're doing something when it comes to VIP tickets that no other conference is doing.
I think so.
I think so. No, 100%.
Well, yeah, we know so, right?
Yeah,
we know
for
so.
sure. So they can go to your website. And when they sign up and buy their ticket, whether it's platinum, bronze, or VIP, they can put in Teryn, and they get 100 or 200 off.
Right.
Or if they sign up for the VIP package, was it 300 off? You said?
Yeah, 200 off VIP, and 200 off platinum and bronze.
Perfect. So make sure you use my code, you guys. I would love that, and I would appreciate that.
Yeah.
All right. So, is there anything else, Melissa?
I just like to let people know, in the industry, I've seen a lot of people call me, they ask me questions. I love to help, and I would just say it's a great industry to be in. It's an amazing industry to be in, but you also have to put the work in. Don't give up. Don't view mistakes as personal. I view them as learning experiences, and anybody that's in any position that you admire started off just the way you are and worked towards it. Made mistakes to get there. I made many mistakes. I think Teryn can agree she made many mistakes. But that's also the way that you view it. It's a mindset. And if you view mistakes as a way of learning and becoming better, instead of a detriment and like an insult and like a reason to give up, don't do that. Just keep moving forward. You know, if you can do what you love to do and make that your job, make your passion your work, that's the most amazing thing I think that you can do.
Yeah, it's so cliche, right? We learn more from our failures than our success. Failure's a part of success. You hear that so often that it almost starts to sound cliche. But there's nothing further from the truth.
It's true.
My biggest failures, and I've had many over the last 22 years building, my company. My biggest failures have been my biggest lessons. I think you need to face your failures and find the opportunity in your failures and then exploit those opportunities.
Absolutely.
And if you have the courage, if you're brave enough and strong enough to do that, then you're not afraid of failure.
Right.
I think that's just a big, huge part of it is not being afraid to fail. Right.
Yep.
And you're going to fail, man.
Yeah. Everyone.
Yeah.
Everyone. And not letting that fear, that little voice inside you, because we all have it. And I was telling you earlier, we're about 3 months out, and this is where I start getting those thoughts in my head, like, what if this doesn't happen?
The self-doubt.
And the fear.
Yeah.
Sometimes I wake up in the morning and like my heart's racing and I'm thinking, oh my goodness, what if this doesn't work or we don't have this? Because I don't think we mentioned it, but we're having the live, everyone gets a free tattoo pen. All live attendees get a free entry-level tattoo pen.
Okay.
And we're making like 10 or 12 presentations interactive.
Okay.
So we got to get latex ink pens for everybody. And during
so
the
you just keep upping your
so
game
we added
every
that.
year. Okay.
We added that. So everyone gets to, because everybody wanted that. We always wanted to do it. And my daughter sat, Mom, no, you could do it. This is how we're going to do it. Because they help me a lot. Because I'm like, how, I get overwhelmed. Like, how would we do that with 500 plus people? She's like, no, we'll help you set it all up. So I think we've got it organized so it'll flow and not put us behind. but they get to do interactive work on latex. The trainers are going to show them, and then we're thinking of giveaways. Like we might have them upload the picture of their work to the app, and then we're going to do like giveaways or something. So we added that feature in too, but that also gives me anxiety. Yeah. But it's going to be fun. And I mean, that's what we just try to make it the fun as we can. And yeah, we keep adding. Pretty soon it's going to be 2 weeks.
It's going to be 2 weeks, right?
Yeah.
That's great. Well, hey, thank you for coming down here today.
No,
I know you're
thank
a busy
you.
lady and you got a lot to do with this conference. It's getting close. It's right around
Yeah.
October's right around the corner.
It's so
It's
close.
getting nitty-gritty time.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yep.
I know it. But
Yeah.
you are a nice lady.
Oh,
you
thank
are
you.
a good human.
Thank you.
And I think, I really like you.
Oh, thank you.
And I love
Same
your
to you.
conference. And
Same to you. I've heard nothing but good things about you too. So when you
thank
asked,
you so much. I
yeah, when
appreciate
you
that.
asked, I was more than flattered and thankful that you're going to be in the show too. And she's going to have a booth there.
Yeah, the Girlz Ink will have a booth there.
Yeah,
So,
so they can
excited. And
come
you have
see.
lots of great vendors and great booths there. I know all of them.
Yeah,
So
that's nice.
I do. I know
Yeah.
all of them. And so I get to see them all and have fun and chat and whatnot. We hang out at each other's booths.
Yeah,
have
and the
a
cool thing about
blast.
the booth too is a lot of the vendors let you try out their inks and try out their
Oh,
pens.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
So before you make a purchase, you already know if you like how it feels in your hand or you like the colors. So
100%.
so
there's
that's all.
giveaways and
Yeah,
show prices.
there's giveaways
and
from them
all kinds of
too.
stuff.
Oh,
the
yeah.
The booths and the vendors and the suppliers do lots
Yeah.
of stuff to
yeah, absolutely.
have fun and whatnot.
Mhm.
So thank you for coming down.
Well,
I
thank
appreciate
you.
it.
I really do too.
All right,
I had a
cool.
great time.
All right, cool.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, you guys, that was Melissa with the PMU Vegas Conference. So go check it out. Teryn in the Code, October 15th through the 19th here in Vegas. And I can't wait to see you all there. Remember, stay in the pursuit of happiness, and we will see you next time.